Now I want to preface this too, because I'm like really hitting on big farmers a lot in this. And I know some guys that are working pretty sizable operations, but they're great dudes, and they're continuing it as well. And they might have large families. Like when I'm kind of harping on these what I call commercial farmers, I'm probably talking more in the realm of, 15,000 acres, 20,000 acres. You get up into the crazy 30,000, 40,000 acre range. Because I know some purely family operations that are still good people helping farmers out that are working 10,000 acres and maybe even 12, 14,000 acres. So, there are some what I call huge farmers, but are not the villains. They're not out. I guess what separates it, these guys are not going out and trying to rent every piece of ground. I'm telling you, I know of some big operators that have gone after 10 acres that a small guy was working. 10 acres, not enough to even make a difference in their operation. But this smaller operator, 10 acres can make a difference. When you're starting out and you're small, you need the ground. And so I want to make that clear. I've got good friends that work a lot of ground, and they also have pretty big families, and they're covering. If you have 5 people in the family working on that same operation, it might take 10,000 acres to swing that. You say 2,000 acres a person, like if you have mid families in there, because 2,000 to 2,500 acres is kind of where I ideally want to be. But my thing to these guys that just crave these huge acres, I don't get that. I get it if you want to live and breathe farming, like you don't care really about anything but farming. Cool, man. Hey, if that's your prerogative, then have at it. But you can make good money on less acres if you maximize that ground. And to really maximize that ground, I don't see how you can spread yourself that thin. And so my main thing on this whole message, like I said, it may ruffle some farmers' feathers. I hope it don't. If it does, then I would ask you to, like I said, to look in and be like, just think about your operation as a whole. Are you furthering agriculture in America, or are you hurting agriculture in America? Are you part of the problem, or are you the solution going forward? That's kind of where I would look at it. And again, I wanted to make that clear because I do know some great farmers that are good people that are furthering agriculture in America, and they work a good bit of ground. But it's not from a greed standpoint. It's making their family operations. I can't think of, if it was just a father and son operation and they were working 17,000 acres, I'd probably be like, is that really necessary? But this is America, man. You do what you want to do, but people have the right to see what's going on. To know, like, okay, this guy's crushed a bunch of people to get to where he is. Like there's half as many farmers in this part of the town or in this state because of this one guy. Like, clearly they'd be a bad person for agriculture. And I just want to see us get back to the family. I want to save the family farms and what I call like true American farmers, and not go to this huge commercial farming route that I'm afraid that's kind of the direction we're heading. It's been a little while since I put a video out. Again, we're kind of in our off time, but I felt a little bit of encouragement or inspiration to do this. And you may can see in my sunglasses, I'm using my phone. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing I decided to do, and I just felt really passionate about it. So I'm on a farm. You can see it all kind of span around there. This is about a 200 acre farm, and hopefully in about 2 weeks I'll sign the papers on this farm and it'll be mine. So I'm pumped up, I'm excited. It's always a risk buying land, but I wanted to say that because this farm, it has been a battle. I've been trying to buy this farm for probably 3 years, 3 or 4 years. And it's been going back and forth and back and forth. I don't have big money or deep pockets, so it's been a real struggle. And there's been developers coming in, and they would make offers, and then they complicated things, and it would go back and forth, and just trying to find where we were going to be price-wise. Well, finally did it. Ended up probably paying a little more than I actually wanted to, but this farm was about to become a statistic. Like we're seeing like crazy. And I was going to share a few. I got my little cheat sheet here because I'm not a numbers whiz. If anybody watches any of my math stuff, obviously you're like, yeah, this guy's not a numbers guy. But I'm very passionate about farm ground and keeping land in farms. And we're seeing this stuff. I mean, we're seeing a huge loss of farmland every year, and this is dangerous. We're in a really weird spot. So I wanted to share some stuff. For starters here, ag contributes. Now, again, some of these statistics are actually a little aged. I was looking, some of them are from like 2012. They're 2012, and then I got a few from 2017. So, I mean, they've got a little age on them. But around 2012, ag was contributing around $992 billion a year to the American economy. So nearly $1 trillion a year. That's a lot of money. So it's obviously good for the economy. But then the part that gets crazy, and this is where I say the average American farmer and farms in general, they're in trouble. We're in trouble. It's farmland since, all right, from 1992 to 2012, we lost 31 million acres of farmland. 31 million acres. I actually meant to research and see what state, like some states were acres wise, because 31, just to put it into perspective, but 31 million acres. I mean, a big farmer in my area is working 7,000 acres. 7,000 acres. We've lost 31 million acres of farmland from 1992 to 2012. So that's nearly 10-year-old data. So from 2012 to 2021 now, it is no telling how much ground we've lost. I mean, it could be, who knows, it could be 60 million acres or more by now. And that's bad. This is really bad. And to break it down even more, they said that's 175 acres per hour. 175 acres per hour. This farm that I'm on here is 195 or 200-ish acres. That'd pretty much be this whole farm in just a little over an hour, gone. To developing. That's subdivisions, commercial development, all that. So then also this was something I thought was wild, over 60% of the land developed was farmland. Not forest or like vacant land. It was row crop fields or fruit trees, that kind of stuff that was taken and turned. Over 60% of that. It was like 62% or something nuts. So from 2012 to 2017, we're down. All right, so I'm kind of skipping ahead there. So that was the loss in acres. Again, that's old data, 2012. We've lost a lot since then. I mean, it's crazy. Just this year, us personally will see a loss of, shoot, my dad's losing, there was a 300 and something acre farm that they had. It's going to be developed. There's another probably 120 acres. It's going to be developed. So right there is pushing, like altogether, probably pushing 500 acres that I personally know of firsthand. And again, this is 200 acres that would have joined that. So we're in trouble, folks. I mean, and I don't think it's too late to correct course, but getting people to do that is going to be the hard part, because we're seeing the toll on farmers. From 2012 to 2017, we have dropped 14 million acres of farmland. Again, that's 2017. So it might be 20 million acres by now. That's 20 million acres. I'll say 14 million, since that's what the statistics say. But we're down that many acres, farm ground. That means like that's just no longer in production. Whether that was developed or, the farmers lost farmers, couldn't work it, whatever. And now there's also a decline in the primary producers from 2012 to 2017. If I remember, gosh, what was that number? Trying to think of the number. It was like 40 or 60,000 primary producers that are no longer rocking and rolling. And that's, again, 2012 to 2017. So a decline in farm acres, a decline in the number of farmers, the primary producers, that is, and oh crap, had a little brain fart there. But the average age too, this is another thing. I was talking to somebody today about this. The average age of a farmer is like 59.4 years old. I'll be 30 in, I guess, a little over a month. And I mean, I am an anomaly, because I have my own operation, and but it's tough. I mean, I'm not a big farmer, I'm a small farmer and a young farmer, but the average age is 59.4 years old of a primary producer. People might wonder why. It's obvious. It's tough. I mean, and people have a really bad misconception of farmers. They see for one, these payments that we get, people have such an idea about these payments, and most of the ideas are probably wrong. And now I will say there are bad apples. There's people that cheat the system. They're out there. They're out there in every job. Every industry has the crap heads that are cheating the system, getting a ton of money, and they're hammering it with these payments. That's not your normal farmer. I'm just telling you, that's not. Like, I don't get much of a payment. Most guys like me don't get much of a payment. It's seriously, when we got the payments, I don't think we'll get one this year. Prices are up. I'm glad. I'll be honest, and this probably ruffles some farmers' feathers, but I actually don't like getting payments. I think that we're in a spot where we need to see some things change in farming. Too many people rely on the government subsidies to survive. When I budget every year, and this will be my 7th or 8th season, 7 or 8 years that I've been farming now full-time, had my own operation. I never budget for a payment. That's just helping, that's extra cushion. I usually figure out my bare costs, what I gotta have, what I gotta make, and then I pray that I make it. And that's what I shoot for. I don't ever go into a year being like, all right, I gotta get $50,000 from the government, or I ain't going another year. I don't set up that way. I don't farm to get payments. I don't like payments. I'm not a huge fan of the government in any capacity. So the less interaction I can have with them, the happier I am. So I don't want payments. I don't want farmers to get payments. I've talked to guys, because I've been conflicted about getting payments. And, I've had some good buddies of mine that were in the military or something, and they've actually told me, they're like, man, farming is kind of like the defense sector in a way. We got to have farmers, because if we rely on somebody else for our food, we're in trouble. And I get it. So at best, a lot of the farmers, the payments just kind of kept their head above water. It kept them trucking for another year. That's how the majority of them are. Now, you did have guys, and these are the ones that I would like to see the change hit. You got these guys that are running a ton of entities, and they're actually making a lot of money off government payments. There are guys out there doing that. Just like you have people cheating the welfare system, there's farmers cheating the government payments and things like that. I don't like that. I don't like that tremendously, because you can't be for it in one area and against it in another. So I don't know. I'm trying something here. I got my steady. I got a tree here with a little notch in it, and I stuck the phone in it. But I want to see a change, and that's what we were talking today. The average farmer is a small farmer in America. It is smaller acreage. I don't know if it's 300 acres or 500 acres is like the average size of a farmer. And we need small farmers, but it's almost going to the side of commercializing everything. You know, you see these things about cover crops and doing all this stuff. Honestly, this small farmer can do more on the land than a big guy, because frankly, we're not spread out as much. I can actually focus harder on a place than a huge farmer. But people see the big bad equipment, the big new stuff, shiny paint and all that, and so they think that's who they got to go with. So one of the huge burdens, I think they claim the #1 block to entry to new farming, or like young and beginning farmers, is the lack of getting financed, and I just don't agree with that. I mean, you can't get land. I mean, I've been in it for 7 or 8 years now. My family's been in it a lot longer. They struggle to get land. I struggle to get land. I mean, I've been growing, but it's been through the help of friends, honestly. And it's always, you got to move. When you get an opportunity at land, you got to move with it, because, I mean, it is crazy. Like, there's big farmers, and they never want to stop. Like, it's just a constant thing. And they're putting out small farmers. I harp on this. I mean, like I said, I probably ruffle some guys' feathers, but honestly, we need to talk about it, because farming is taking a hard dive in America. The average age of farmers being about 60 years old, that's troubling. I mean, that should alarm people that that's where we're at. Like, a 30-year-old man, I mean, if I didn't have family already in it, it would have been insanely hard for me to get into it. Let alone the fact of getting land. Getting enough land to offset the cost of equipment and the overhead that comes along with farming would have been just dang near impossible. And so that's the issue that I see. I don't see it being a financing thing, because there's things set up. You know, FSA, if you're okay with the ton of paperwork, FSA has the young farmers loans. You can do those, start up your line of credit with them. And Farm Credit, who I like dealing with a lot, they've got the Growing Forward program, and it works for guys that are kind of just starting out or new and young farmers. They'll even send you to like some management stuff. So financing, there's options. But I mean, there's not a company that can help you get farmland. Like, it's just so cutthroat. And when you have these guys that are getting massive, monstrous payments, they then offset their insanely high rent price. They'll go out and pay, you know, let's say a normal farm rents for $140 an acre. Like, that's kind of on the higher end of the spectrum for a lot. But let's say this is some good ground, and you might offer them $140 an acre. Well, one of these huge operators that can payroll this kind of stuff, they might offer them $250 an acre. I mean, you can't even get in the ballpark of that. That's the struggle. So, like, not only is it that developers and things are taking land and doing things, which that's a problem of the people that are selling the land. They got to stop. I mean, I don't know how you move here. We're in a weird spot. I mean, it's like telling people not to be greedy, honestly. And I get it. You know, if you don't have any desire for the land, like it's some land that was passed down to you, it really doesn't mean anything to you. Like it was your great-great-grandparents or something, and it's been passed down. You know, that land may not mean much to you. So clearly, you would want to get as much money as you can for it. I get that. I get it. But it's also part of the problem, because a farmer can pay, like, let's say $3,500 an acre. $4,000 an acre. And I know the prices swing hugely from state to state, but I'm just throwing some number out there. Let's say $4,000 an acre a farmer can pay. And then you have a developer come in and offer $8,000 an acre. What are you going to take? I mean, what are these people going to take? Are they going to turn down double the money to support the farmers and keep it in that? You know, that's tough. I mean, I get it. But at some point, something has got to give, because we're on a steady decline. And it's crazy. I mean, I don't know where we're headed. And we got to have young farmers. You know, these guys that are huge farmers and swooping up all this ground, all this, you can't work everything. I mean, I'm telling you right now, you cannot work everything. Like, you want to get up to working 60, 80,000 acres or something crazy, you can't handle it. You already see it. These guys that get really big, they'll have farms that look crappy because they're spread so thin already. And that's where it frustrates guys that are in a position like where I'm at, trying to grow. I don't even want to be a huge farmer. I want to work just enough to be comfortable and still enjoy myself. I don't want to smother out everybody. I actually want to see farming continue. Like, this is a heritage that I cherish. I would like to see my son go into it. And I'm going to explain to my son when he gets old enough that this is something that has to continue. I can't work all the ground myself. My son can't work the ground all by himself. Farming used to be kind of a community thing. And now it's like, it's just crazy because everybody wants so much land. It's like, I got to get more land. I'm going to get more land even if I'm not making hardly any money off of it, but I'm keeping this other farmer from working it. That's stupid, and it's killing farming. So we got the developers. They're not helping us out, and these freaking commercial farmers, that's what I'd call them, they're hurting us. They're not helping. They're the enemy of farming as well. Continuing this going, they're part of the problem, and I don't hold any punches in saying that. If it makes you mad, then again, like I've said in the past, if what I say makes you mad, then I would tell you to ask yourself, why does it make you mad? What are you doing to help continue this? What are you doing to continue agriculture in America moving forward? And folks, that's my message today. Farmers, we're in a weird spot. We're in a tough spot right now. If you're a young guy or a guy interested in it, and you're kind of wondering where to start, where to go from there, reach out to me, shoot me a message. I'll try to help you out, but know that I'm in the fight with you, and I want to see it continue.